ended research. So this whole process is going to be discussed today. This process starts with the define problem. First of all, we have to define the problem, and then planning a research design, and then planning a sample, gathering the data, and the processing and analyzing the data, and finally conclusion and submitting the report. This is the overall structure of the research. And then now the first thing, yes. Okay, the first thing is about the they start with the problem discovery. This is the first one that we have to discover the problem. If the problem is already you know, then you can what data you can go through this one and you can bypass this whole section if the problem is already discovered or a problem if already you know. So now then you can bypass and directly you can reach through this line to the problem definition. But if the problem is unknown, if the problem is not discovered, then what to do? That then we have to go through the selection of exploratory research technique. You know that earlier we discussed about the exploratory research. So now in this type of technique which you have to apply in order to find out our research means discover the problem, what the problem is. In order to discover the problem, the different facilities or options are available. The first one is we can go through the secondary data. I think you know the difference between the secondary and the primary data. So again,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
repeating, the primary data is that type of data which we collect by our own hand. We are sometimes, if we are going into the field, we are meeting the respondent to collect the data. This type of data is called as a primary data. And another data is secondary data. This data is normally is a historical data, or another beautiful term we give the secondary. It's a published data. It is already published data. So now data like the World Bank data, global entrepreneurship monitor data, like the different data, the database are available in Pakistan, statistical data, like the statistic department, federal government statistic department, it also provide you with some data regarding the state, regarding the economy of Pakistan. So that data you can download it and just you can that means is used in your research and you can go. Okay, so and another source is about the pilot testing. You can also go through the pilot test, and in the pilot test, basically pilot test is the like the we are going to test for it with a short term for the at a small scale. Before conducting your research at a large scale, we are required to conduct first at the small scale in order to understand either the research or the project will be successful or not. If the pilot study tells you that the project will be successful, or if the pilot study tells you that, okay, this research is possible, then we can go through. And another way is experience survey. You can go through and conduct the survey from the people, and then you can also read some case studies, or you can go through your case study. So the basically all these are the different methods for discovering a problem if it is not discovered. But if it discovered, then definitely you can reach on the problem definition. After the is discovering a problem, you are required to define the problem. For example, we have recently a problem that the impact of coronavirus on the business, negative impact of the coronavirus on our small business. If it is our problem, then we have to discover the problem, because nowadays the business are closed, markets are closed, especially small business, they are closed because of the outbreak of this coronavirus. So now this is the problem. We have discovered the problem. Now we have to define the problem. Now define the problem in what way? That we have limitized. We have to create the limits of our research problem. And then we can go on another. That means when you define the problem, that means create the limits. Now, for example, impact of the coronavirus on small business in Sakhar. Impact of the negative impact of the coronavirus on small business in Larkana. Negative impact of the coronavirus on small manufacturing business in particular city. In this way, we are required to define the problem. And after defining the problem, the next thing is selection of the basic research method. Which research method we should select in order to conduct our, in order to complete our research. Now, the basic research methods are, first of all, the survey. Several times I have talked about the survey. In this one, in the survey, the two things are available to us. The first one is you can go through the interview or you can go through the questionnaire. And interview, it is a face-to-face meeting where you are going to find out your respondent and you are meeting the respondent and you are conducting his or her interview for a certain time. And interview, there are three types of the interviews. Structured interviews where the questions are already written and you are going to ask the written questionnaires, answers from written questions from the interviewee or your respondent. And another is unstructured. The questions are not written, but whatever the question which is coming in your mind, you are just asking that question. This is the unstructured. Another is a semi-structured. In this type of interview, some research, some questions are written, and some questions are you are asking from the answer of your respondent. So, and another thing is about the questionnaire. Normally, we design a one questionnaire, and through that questionnaire, we are going to collect the data. Normally, if you Google it, the questionnaire, you will find a different type of the questionnaires, and you can understand, okay, that is how we can collect the data through these questionnaires. And then another is about the experiments. Although we do not have much experiment in our field, like in the social science, in the management sciences, there. But even though we have some, now you can conduct the experiment in the laboratory or in the field. So these two are. For example, if you remember about the Hawthorne experiment, which was conducted into the England. That means this was actually a field experiment. The researcher find out one type of the manufacturing firm. He visited over there and he conducted this experiment, Hawthorne experiment, for about 6 to 7 years over there. Basically, he wanted to check the impact of the environment on the performance of employees. So in order to collect the data, he conducted this experiment for the, I think from 6 to 7 years. So if you want to know, read further about this one, then just you can also go through this one, Hawthorne experiment. This is a very famous experiment, and probably you have been taught into the, I think in your course, in your management, principles of management, probably your teacher taught you about this experiment. If you do not know, or if you have the, just aware, if you want to have a complete information about this, you can go through, you can Google it, this term. And then, okay, after that means another thing is that we have to go through to the survey. Okay, we talked. Okay, and then the sampling design. One is a population, and three terms we are using: census, population, and the sample. Census, that means when you are going to count every person. Normally, after 10 years, in every country, normally they are counting the people who are living in a particular country. This is the census. And the population and the sample. For example, we want to conduct the research on the impact of the coronavirus COVID-19 on the small business in Sakhar. So the entire business which are available in the Sakhar small business, that is our population, and from that one we have to take out the sample. Definitely it's not possible because of some limitation like the budget limitation, time limitation. We cannot cover the whole population. That's why we have to take some sample, some few people from out of the whole population. So now there are the two types of the sample. One is probability sampling and another is a non-probability sampling. I think we discussed in our classes, previous classes, the difference between these two ones. But in
Hello.
hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Actually, there was a connection problem. So again, thanks God that our connectivity has been done, and then again we are starting.
It's okay,
So in
sir.
the probability sampling, every respondent has the equal chance to be selected for the data collection. In the probability sampling, every respondent has an equal chance, while in the non-probability sampling, every respondent has an unequal chance to be selected for the data collection. So this is a different, there are different type of the probability sampling and there are different type of the non-probability sampling. If you want to know further, you can Google it, these two terms, and you can have a, otherwise in the coming classes, we will discuss about the different type of the probability sampling and the different type of the non-probability sampling in detail. And then there is another thing is about the collection the data. So we have to collect the data. Definitely, without collecting data, we can't do anything because what we will they will say analyze. We will analyze the data, and the data may be qualitative data and the quantitative data. The data which we are going to collect on the Likert scale. Likert scale, Likert was the name of the person who explored this type of the scale. So that's why we call it as a Likert scale. There are the 3-point Likert scale, 5-point Likert scale, 7, 9, 11-point Likert scale. The data which we are going to collect on the Likert scale, so that data is called as quantitative data, and the other type of the data, they mean like through interview, through the observation, whatever data we are collecting, that is called as a qualitative data. So now for both one, we are you are required to go to collect the data through the field work. So after designing a sample, definitely you will go through the different parts of the Sakkar city, and then it is your field work, and there from there you can collect the data from the representatives of your sample. And after collecting the data, now qualitative data or quantitative data. The next thing is about the editing and the coding data. So now you have to edit the data which are incomplete, some and which are which the data which you are unable to understand. Now you can keep away that that part of the data, and then you are required to code the data. Okay, when I will teach you about the SPSS, then this thing, especially the coding the data, I will teach you how to code a data when you are going to insert the data into the SPSS. And after code editing and coding data, next is the data processing and the analysis. And then definitely we have to analyze the data and we have to analyze the data. This whole thing I will discuss in the coming when we will go through to the this SPSS. After the end of this different selected chapters, I will go through and I will teach you online that how you can use the SPSS. I will teach you. And after that one, definitely after processing the data, the certain results will be there. And now that we have to interpret those results or those findings. That what are the results? And then finally, after interpreting the result, we have to report. For example, if we are working for the third party, if you are working as a researcher for the another party, so now at the end of your research, you have to make a one report, and that report you have to submit to that party for which one you are working as a researcher. Okay, and then now, for example, this is a like the one research paper which I wrote, And in this research paper examining the entrepreneurship, now this is the one like this. I conducted the whole research on the topic. I conducted the whole research on this topic, okay, and collected the data. Here in this, I used the secondary data, not the primary data. I downloaded this data from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, like it is written here. Global Entrepreneurship, Global APS, Adult Population Survey, they missed from the website of the gym. And then I processed the data and I got some results. And at the end, I also analyzed the results, and then I submitted this research paper in a journal, and I got it. This one is published. It's the same way now. This is like the, although we call it a research paper, but it is a report. For example, it is a report. In this way, you have to develop a report, and then you have to submit to your client, and then okay, now the research is very much important. Ethics are very much important in the research. Now, the one thing is there you must keep in your mind that you and your research both are different things. For example, in accounting, you know that we are passing a one entry drawing account. Why we write some expenses, some as a drawing account, because that expense we are using not for business but for our personal use. For example, if owner is going to pay 5,000 from the business as a tuition fee of his child or the school fee of his child, then what is this? It is a drawing account. It's not a business expense. The problem, the reason is that that amount has not been spent for on the business, but that has been spent from that means that has been spent on his own. So that's why because we consider the business and the owner as a different entities. Right, the owner is a natural entity and business is an artificial entity. Artificial entity means that this business has been created by his owner. That's why we call owner is a natural entity and the business is an artificial entity. So it's the same way, researcher and the research, both are different things. Both are not true, although the researcher is going to conduct the research, but actually the research is different from him. So that's why the researcher has to follow some ethics, some moralities. These are very important for every researcher. The problem is that when that we want to conduct, sometimes we want that the results of this research should be according to our own wishes. No, this is unethical. This is against the morality, because we have to conduct the research and we have to find out the results based on the sample, based on the response from the respondent. Because what we are doing, that we are processing the response from the respondent, not from our own. So that's why we should be true, we should be ethical, we should follow ethics, research ethics when we are going to conduct the research. And whatever the results are coming, let them to come. Do not change the results, infringe the results in your own benefit. And then another thing is about the societal norms and values. Every society has a different norms and different values. Now these norms and these values, they are differ from societies to from country to country, from one society to another society. Even in Pakistan, different societies are there, different cities are there, and they have the different norms, they have different values. As the same, if you compare the norms and values the societies which are located in the Europe and then compare with the societies which are located into the Asia, you will find such different like the differences between these two. So when you are going to conduct the research, then you should also consider the societal norms and values. And another thing is about the divergent perception, what is considered ethical and unethical. In one society, one thing is ethical, and in another society, the same thing is unethical. For example, in the European countries, so if you ask from your another person, what is your name? what is your income, how many you are, either you are married or not married. So they consider this one is unethical. They consider it is my privacy. Why I should share with you my personal thing? But if you are the same thing in our Pakistan, everyone tell you, and it is ethical. It's it's not a problem. So now divergent perception, different perceptions are there. Means it depends on the culture in which our values in which the people they are living over there. And then another, what is ethical is the business research. That's very important. The simple what is ethical for me, the major thing which I always keep in your mind, that the you and your research are both different things. Although you are connecting the research, but again, you and your research both are different things, and do not put your own thoughts in your research, and do not try to get the results according to your own wishes. So if you are doing so, it is unethical. And then we should follow the ethical guideline and the professional associations. And then another thing is about, okay, now if we talk about the ethical interface of in business, now subject and the client. Subject has a right. Subject means here you are respondent, and the client means here this subject means you are respondent from whom you are collecting the data, and clients are those for whom you are working. For example, ABC company is there, which is giving you one task, is a research task that you should work they means on that task. So now company ABC is a client for you, is your customer and your researcher. Subject right is also there. Researcher obligation. Please 1 minute. I'm 1 minute. I'm pausing the recording. Hello. I'm sorry, there was an important call which was very important for me. That's why I attend this call. Okay. So continue our discussion that you know that the subject's right. Now the researcher's obligations are also there. And here is research or researcher obligation. That means for these two, for the research subject right as well as for the client right. Being a researcher, we are responsible to fulfill their rights, to complete their rights. So in this one, for example, research subject, researchers' rights are very important, and like the research subject, and researcher rights are there. Being you are researcher, and you are also there are some rights, and some subject obligations. Being a subject, being a respondent, the subject has certain responsibilities, and as well as being a researcher, you have some rights, and being a client, you are being a client, the client has certain obligations. Further, in this way, then either you are researcher, either you are a subject, means a respondent or client. So all you people have a certain rule, certain obligations, and uh, certain rights. So now both are required to honor the each other's rights, and and both are like the responsible that they should uh, they need to complete their obligations being a researcher. And then another thing is about, okay, ethical behavior considerations. Truthfulness is giving in the information, is giving information to the researcher if the research subject or respondent gives his or her consent to the participant. So truthfulness is there, whatever the things which are right. So researcher is obligated to like transmit their results to your client. Sometimes researcher they are like they're changing the results because they think that these type of results will not be liked by the researcher, by your client. So in order to appease, in order to make happy your client, the researchers, they are changing the results. This is not good thing. And another thing is about the sustained cooperativeness with the research through the course of the research study. Sometimes at the start of our research, we are very much enthusiastic, we are very much active to complete our research. But during as the time is going to pass, after some time we feel bored. We feel that we cannot continue it. So do not leave your research project incomplete. Complete it within the time and with your enthusiasm. And another thing is the ADA responsibility if informed consent is given to the researcher. And you should also feel the responsibility, and you should also inform the researchers, your subject, before approaching them for data collection. State any constraint or limitation in advance. Tell any problem, any issue in the research are there to your client, because certain sensitive subjects are there in our society on which the people they do not want to talk, and mostly people. For example, one of my research student, he came to me and he told me, sir, I want to do work on the on the harassment, female harassment. So now this topic is very sensitive, and I think no one will talk on this one. How you collect the data from this one is highly sensitive. So now for this purpose, it's very difficult to collect data. Know any female, how you identify which female was harassed by another person. This, so if you are going to talk, respect research on these sensitive topics, it's very difficult. So many limitations are on this topic. And then okay, ethical behavior, like the two things are there, subject, objective and the subjective are two quite commonly used adjectives. I think we discussed these two one in our class. Maybe so what is the meaning of the objective and what is the meaning of the subjective. Subjective, like the is an adjective meaning based on or influenced by the personal feelings or emotions. For example, if I ask you that do you think that this flower is beautiful or not? So now its beauty is depend on your wishes, on your thinking, on your like or dislike. Sometimes we like the one flower, sometimes we dislike the same flower. Sometimes we like a one person, sometimes we dislike the same person. Now this is called the subjective. Objective are there. On other hand, the objectives are there, meaning not based on or influenced by personal feeling, but these are true. For example, 2 plus 2, 4. Now it is the objective. Everyone tell you the same answer. For example, some answer you are in the, what you can say, that MCQs. Pakistan got independence in the 1947. Yes or no? All the people who know that, yes, they say, okay, yes. So now there is no only personal feelings. The answer of the objective is quite clear. And then if you want to know further, then you please Google these two terms, and I hope the Google will clarify, because online I cannot discuss each and everything because of the time limitation over here. Look at these two statements. For example, Imran Khan won the election 2019 general election. Now Imran Khan was lucky to win the. Now the first one is this one is this statement is a objective and this statement is a subjective. If I say Imran Khan was lucky enough to win this election, another person, no sir, he was not lucky, but he was a genuine leader, and that's why the people voted in his favor. There was no any luck. He was a true leader. So now in that second statement, we can have some debate over here. But in the first, there is no debate because things are clear. So this is the difference between the objective and the subjective. So today we are going to end our lecture here because of time limitation. And I hope today's lecture has been very beneficial for you. Due to some issues were there, but I think again. So dear students, today we will meet the same time tomorrow at 11:30. So I hope you will be there, and you will also maximize the number of the participation in that class, which will be done tomorrow. So thank you very much. So I will upload this lecture on my YouTube channel, and if you have any question, you can put those questions on your WhatsApp group. Okay, ji?
Tomorrow, which time, sir?
At same time, 11:30.
Okay, sir.
Okay, ji. So if you have any question, you can drop your question in your WhatsApp group. So I will try to answer all those ones as soon as possible.
Okay, sir.
Oh,
Okay, ji.
okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.